Good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the living world of darkness, and welcome to the Pitfall, the Demon venue. Today, scene is going to be the second part of a previous one, even if obviously the one who was doing said previous scene wasn't aware that one that he knew was there all along. But for a proper introduction, we should perhaps go back a little bit in time. Let's let's go back a little bit into the life of a mortal woman, a mortal woman who did not used to reside in New York. In fact, she used to reside on the very opposite side of the map. She was in Seattle. Seattle, a very nice city, or so people say. But if you're the town that created grunge, there's something probably wrong with your town. And well, she was working in a certain company, but perhaps Amelia could explain to us a little bit what her job used to be.
Amelia is a programmer. She works for a gaming company. She was headhunted right out of school and has been working there ever since. She loves her job. She loves working on games, loves figuring out how to make the graphics work, how to make the engines run smoothly and fast and do the things that make the games fun. She doesn't like to figure out what makes the game fun. She likes to figure out how to do it. And
Mm.
that's what she does, and she does it well.
Hmm. However, things don't generally go very well in the world of darkness. As we all know, the world of darkness is a very harsh place for people. And one day, one faithful day, Amelia found something a little bit unusual. A file, a file that baffled her a little bit. It was apparently a programming file as she recognized some code, but things seems a little bit strange. And she she went to her superior. After all, that's generally what you do in those situations. And after that day, things started to become a little bit strange. Her her boss became more. Hmm, how can we how can we really put it? He became more physically interested in her, complimenting her hair, her dress, perhaps saying that she should dress a little bit better because obviously, with a body like she has, she could be a real asset for the company if she made a little effort. Up until one fateful day where they were alone near the copy machine, and well, let's just say that the boss thought that she was up for a raise, but not the kind of raise that Amelia would appreciate to have, and she responded very heartfully to that proposition by stabbing him with a pen, obviously. And starting to this day, her life, she fought back. She fought back for taking back her place in the company by going through the challenge because obviously, being stabbed, the boss didn't want to keep her around, obviously. And after efforts, efforts, and a lot of arguing in court from both parties. It was stated that she should come back to her previous position and her boss being disposed of. Everything should be fine. Everything should be okay. However, things started to go very sour starting from this day. She started to receive messages on her phone, on her voicemail, or on her email address. Images of herself in very, very disgracing positions, followed by hate mails, more photoshopped image, dog poop being sent through the mail. She was starting to become harassed and she couldn't really figure out why, or perhaps she has a little bit of an idea of where that might come from. But this has been gone for 2 months, and this is where we will start the scene. Emilia, your clockwork is ringing, telling you that today is another day, another day where you will have to wake up, go to work, and come back to your home, seeing as your only comfort, Mr. Whiskers, will be there to share a little bit of love and comfort to you. Tell me, how do you start such a day who looks like any other of your previous day from those 2 months?
Mr. Whiskers wakes her up in the morning. He likes his breakfast early. So she gets up and makes a pot of coffee and serves Mr. Whiskers his gourmet breakfast. It takes a little while to prepare, but the coffee takes a little while to prepare too, so it works out. Mornings are not a bad time for her. She gets up early and tends to get a lot done.
Hmm.
Maybe watches a show while she's eating, and then she makes sure that all the doors and windows are locked because she's a little concerned about the weird shit she's been getting. This is the she's moved twice since all this went down because of not people showing up at her door, but definitely people leaving things for her that were obviously hateful. Um, so even though mornings are good, coming home is often a little. There's some trepidation. She's afraid she's going to come home someday and there's going to be somebody in her house. Um,
Mm.
so she's pretty careful about locking all the doors, locking all the windows, and gives Mr. Whiskers a last kiss and then heads to work.
Yes, Mr. Whiskers, appreciate.
I think Mr. Whiskers is already possessed.
But you don't know. You don't know that he's an earthbound. So you go off you go off your day, and it's it's pretty much like any ordinary day, as even if your team is working together to work on those games that bring you so much joy, or actually brought you so much joy in the past, but now this seems a little bit dull as you are working with your anxiety over the things that are happening to you, and the fact that this team, well, they tend to work alone. They tend to work alone. Everyone is a little bit in their corner, and you've seen also that they they look at you differently. They look at you differently after you were fired and came back. Of course, um, none of them would tell you to your face that perhaps they think that you went too far, or perhaps that uh, Bob was not really a bad guy, and that maybe it was a little bit of your fault that this happened, or others just never talk to you in the first place, but you feel a little bit alone in your cubicle working, and you get messages coming your way. They are all the same from work, but from time to time you see this ad popping up from your mail saying that you have a new mail, but you see right away that the mail is not from within the company. It's those that comes from outside, those that carry those pictures or those hate mail that are coming to your way. And there is also one from your bank company. Do you open this one?
Yep, I'm assuming they probably have pretty good virus scanners.
Mm.
So, she'll open it.
And as you open it, uh, it's it states that you have made a donation of $1,000 to a group that apparently is called the Clan Support Group with a K.
No fucking way. She's going to pull out her phone and check her bank account.
Hmm. And indeed, it seems that a donation has been made in your name, a transfer has been made. You're going to make an opposition, most certainly.
Oh, son of a bitch. I'm gonna kill somebody.
Mm. And as you continue through this day as a drone, as you are fighting, for with obviously your banker to confirm that no, you never made such a transfer, and that
All day.
it seems that apparently someone got your uh, your credit card numbers and all to get access to your bank account and your codes. So your your banker is telling you that for now your bank account has to be shut down, and so it is going to be your credit card in order to make sure that such a thing are not going to happen, and that you will need to go to the bank itself in order to get some money if you want to do things, but for the time that they make the proper changes in order for you to have access to your bank account again.
Oh, that's exhausting and humiliating. And she probably has to explain over and over that no, there's no way that she donated to the clan. So she's probably in a pretty low place, especially because you can't like describe to a bureaucrat how there's no fucking way you would ever donate to the clan without little pieces of your soul like flaking off anyway.
Mm. And you end this day exhausted because you you passed all day working on that. It had an impact on your uh, on your work. You even got scolded a little bit by some of your colleagues because you weren't paying attention enough and you made some errors in the code. But finally, the liberation comes. The day is over, and you can come back home. You can come back where you feel a little bit safer, where you feel that you will be able to hide away from this world, from those judging eyes. And as you get the key for the door and you open it, you feel the cold breeze of Seattle uh, caressing your face
from inside.
from inside.
Mr. Whiskers is an indoor cat, so she closes the door and immediately like jingles her keys because that's not a breeze that's supposed to be in the house. Mr. Whiskers does not get to go outside. Mr. Whiskers? Hey, sweetie. Hey, sweetie.
There's no one who is answering your call.
She drops her purse and goes hunting through the house, trying to figure out where the breeze is coming from, trying to find Mr. Whiskers.
And you see the origin of the breeze. It's actually one of your windows. It's broken, and you can see that there's a stone there's a stone inside. Probably someone threw it through your window. And there's a note. There's a note near the window.
She grabs her phone and tries to take a picture, but her hands are shaking.
Mm-hmm.
So she just sets the phone back down and goes to get the note.
The note states uh, as follow: "Bitch, you'll never see your cat again. Evil bitch like you don't deserve to have friends."
She just sits down on the floor and just sits there like she's too tired to cry at this point. It's been so long and it seems like the whole world is against her and there's nothing safe left.
And
There's nothing.
at this moment, something something broke within this poor girl's soul. There's something that's not really there anymore. She has lost her will to go on. She's not going to come back to work the day after that, nor the day after this one, up until the point where her sister will come back to her, and after long and long discussion about this almost one-sided, uh, it has been decided that perhaps the best solution might be to move to another city. And this is how our poor girl arrived in New York City, working still for the same company, but doing indoor work. And her days might have been the same, but something, something changed that one of these fateful days. And we're going to make a small transition for someone else, someone who lived far, far longer than poor Amelia. I'm talking about one who was previously an angel of God, a redo, a fiend from the cryptic. She or he doesn't really make a difference, really, when you think about it in terms of demons. She has been having troubles within the abyss. For her personal view came to clash with another demon. Perhaps, hmm, perhaps Eridu could speak a little bit more about herself. Who was she? Who was he before all this?
Eridu was a gateway to the stars. It was Eridu's job to teleport people where they needed to go across vast distances. And she was completely in love with the movements of the universe. When things went down, she kind of kept doing what she was doing, kind of followed the people she'd been following, and was perfectly happy to keep doing her job without really a good idea of the greater morals behind it. And when everything went down, she just got swept up along with everything else, Nazi style.
And well, after being cast out within the pit, within the darkness that is the abyss, where the torment devoured her will, devoured her, changing her in something more wicked, perhaps less innocent than she was in the past. She she still had questions. She still wanted to find the answers, which drove her to the faction that is the cryptic. But sometimes asking question is not a good idea. And one day she angered the wrong person. And this person made its personal goal to break her and make hmm, whatever he would feel about this pesky little being that dared to ask questions to him. So she ran away, ran away trying to escape the wrath of this one after receiving the aid of perhaps the closest thing that one would call a friend in this place, a slayer that aided her escape. But perhaps due to her particular house, she found an exit very quickly, finding the crack through the abyss, the way out into the real world, the world of the humans, a world that she left long and long ago, that is now dull and gray, filled with buildings reaching out for the sky, illuminated by the lights that were absent in the utter darkness of the abyss. How does Eridu feels about this place where she arrives, it is quite different from whence she came and from what she remembered of the human world.
All the stars are on the ground now. She's a little fascinated by just the fact that all of the lights are down here.
Mm, indeed, it's fascinating. All those colors, red, yellow, green, white, yeah, all there. But there is something, there is something that is tapping on the back of your mind. You can feel something, something that is looking at you, trying to reach to you. And as you probably look around to see who or what it is, you don't see it, but you feel its presence and you feel something grabbing your soul. And it's starting to pull you back.
Oh
You feel
no.
you feel the attraction, the torment grasping your soul. You know this touch. It's the touch of the abyss. You heard from demons who went and came back. You heard from those who are in your faction. Those who goes on the surface needs to find a host. Otherwise, the abyss will track them down into the pit, and she knows what awaits in the pit. There would be no more escape, and she would be at the mercy of her enemy. She's going to need to find a host soon. And as you start to try and find someone, something weak enough to attach yourself to it, you sense a little something. You sense desperation coming from one of those lights. You approach and you see a young human being, a young woman typing on a very strange machine that has lights coming from it, images and strange letters that don't make sense to you. She is weak. She has no will. She is working as an automaton. You could inhabit her body. It would be very easy. Her soul is so weak. You would just need to enter and she would be pushed out.
I'm gonna do it.
I'm filled with determination. I'm gonna
Filled with
kill
determination.
you. And you enter, you enter into that body, and you're filled with something completely different, filled with human memories. Oh, you had memories, of course, in the past, but this is this is different. It is something fresh, something new. You're feeling flesh and blood running through this body. You feel her heartbeat, her anxiety, all those feelings, and you're smacked into her mind with all those terrible, terrible memories, her sense of loss over this feline creature that she named Mr. Whiskers, her anger, repressed hatred for the one who she is sure is her tormentor. You're filled with her curiosity, her innate light to bring things to life through those strange code that she put in this computer. And as you fuse, feeling your powerful presence being absorbed and smashed, fused with both your memories, you see her soul being cast away, dragged off into the nothingness, as you are now Eridu, but you are also Amelia. How does it feel to be something more than pure thoughts, pure energy created by God Himself?
A little terrifying, a little bit glorious, a little bit guilty.
Mm. Yes, a sin to add to the many ones that you perhaps had in the past. And those days will pass as perhaps can you describe us how would how exactly Eridu react after a little while? How what are the things that interest her in this human world? What does she find fascinating, strange, or downright repulsing after passing a few weeks as a human being?
She loves her computer. She can't get enough of the idea that everything is at her fingertips. She probably orders in a lot just for the pleasure of typing things on a screen and having them show up at her door. She's not as enchanted with the city as she thought she'd be. It's a little bit grubby, though she really likes electricity. And she probably goes out of her way to visit um, anything that gets her away from the pesticides. So, organic foods, um, though she has a little bit of a soft spot for greasy foods. So, that's her own fault. Probably comes from the human. She also finds great joy in coffee.
Yes, one might thought that you are indeed human, but we both you know you're not. And one day, one day you decide to take a pause. You decide to take a pause because, well, you've been working on this programming, and you feel that you've earned yourself a little something. Obviously, because you run out of smoothies, and you need more fruits, more protein, vitamins to sustain this body. Because sometimes you almost forget that you need to eat. So you go to this little grocery store where they have food that they call bio, that they call without pesticides, things like that, more natural products. And you come back to your apartment, and would you would you please make me the pleasure of rolling mm, roll me perception and alertness.
One success.
One success. Okay. Uh, hmm. you you go to your apartments once again, and there's something a little bit weird. You you obviously hear the sound coming from Mrs. Morgan television, the old lady that lives near your apartment. She she has some problem, you know, hearing. Uh, but yes, you hear a little bit of water that seems to be running in your apartment. You're not completely sure, but yes, there seems to be a sound coming from inside.
Uh, she's gonna shift her groceries to one arm and open the door quickly.
Mhm. And you open you open the door quickly, and there's no sound anymore. Hmm,
Huh.
perhaps it was your imagination.
This weird human shit. So weird.
Ah,
But
yes, many weird things.
she looks around the apartment
Hmm.
and checks the sink in the kitchen to see if there's any signs that water was running.
And you go through your apartment, going to the kitchen, and as you go there, first of all, you don't see the water running in the sink. However, there's something that quickly catch your eye. Your uh, your laptop is not there anymore, and so is the tower of your beloved computer.
And a second soul shatters. She just kind of stands there for a second, just completely bewildered by the sudden loss of this thing that she loves.
Mr. PC is gone,
Mr. Beast, he is gone.
and
And
mhm,
is it possible or probable that the body would remember the days of being stalked?
yes, yes, you have those memories. You have those memories inside you. You clearly, indeed, remember that fear of someone being in your apartment, and
She's definitely gonna grab the nearest knife.
as you go for the knife, you see that someone is behind you with a gun pointing at you. And would you please describe me how it happens? Because, well, this is going to happen very fast.
Try and stab me, I'm a demon. She's gonna just try and put the knife straight in his eye. Worked pretty well with the pen before, and she just acts
Mhm.
quickly.
Yeah, go you go through the motion as this guy apparently weren't expect you to turn around that quickly in the first place, and you cut him in the eye, and you hear him curse you English. You hear him cursing uh, in his breath, calling you calling you a bitch as he's trying to aim into your direction, but the blood coming on his eyes is blinding him, and he miss his shot. He misses his shot, and you get a second round as probably identify him as the one who probably kidnapped or injured Mr. PC. You, you stab him. You stab him in the chest, and he stumbles a little bit and falls falls to the ground. He is still alive, but it yeah, you know enough that this wound is fatal. He's not going. He will certainly not make it. And there is something that comes, through your mind at this very moment. A memory, memory coming from all those years, um, all those years, watching shows, watching movies, and all those things on television. You know that you killed someone, perhaps in what those humans call legitimate defense, but you still killed someone, which means that there's going to be cops going around and probably asking questions. So perhaps, perhaps this might be the time to lay low a little bit because all those things running through your head. I mean, he didn't try, to steal you or something. No, you're pretty sure he was there to kill you. So what is Eridu thinking right now?
I think she's panicking right now. She just killed another person. Oops. Shit. And also, she feels incredibly violated by this coming back into her life again. And I think she probably just turns and runs, grabs her coat,
Mhm,
um, pulls it on to hide the blood, shoves her hands in her pockets, and just flees as fast as she can.
mhm. And as you start to flee, going uh, through the stairs, I want you to. Mm, I would like you to make me a perception awareness.
2 successes.
Okay. As you as you go through those stairs, you feel something. You feel it's a little bit strange for you to describe because you've never really felt something like that, but you feel there is a presence. There is a presence in the building that is arriving. It's the best way you can describe it. There is something that wasn't there before that entered.
Does it feel familiar?
Uh, Not necessarily familiar in the sense that you would know what it is, or rather who it would be, but you you would say it's probably the best way to describe it is something something disappeared and something new came in its place.
Okay.
So perhaps yes, you can put this in the same category as your own possession.
She'll stop. Is there like a sense of where it happened?
Mm, you can sense that it came from upstairs. So you can perhaps put the two and two together.
She will head very slowly and kind of reluctantly back up the stairs.
Hmm. And you go back slowly up the stairs, going back um, to your apartment. And if perhaps Mr. Spectator would go on his Facebook and use the link that has been sent to him, you arrive and you see that this person that you stabbed, this person that you stabbed is standing up, and he seems very much alive. He seems very much alive as he has taken off his uh, his mask. He appears to be in his late 30s, early 40s, and he looks around a little bit puzzled as he is washing off his hands, probably to well erase the crime.
Amelia is going to remind herself that she is a once was an angel of God, and she's going to close the door behind her and lock it.
Hmm. Sure, yes, there's the person that you were out to try to find out has come back to the apartment and locked the door.
He is going to instinctually sort of, whip out that pistol again and aim it at her, kind of like he knows that that's like the defensive action that he
You're
wants
a
to
little
do.
bit far away.
Wait,
As always.
I'm speaking like I don't know how to fix this. MA
It's
just always
okay.
has to
Yeah,
turn
better.
me up.
It's better. It's better. That's perfect. Hmm.
But yeah, he knows it's a defensive action, so he's going to hold her at arm's length with his pistol.
She may have miscalculated. Don't.
Would out of character? Would my character have any inkling that she is demonic
Mm,
from just getting stabbed? Like he wouldn't have any awareness of it when the mortal wouldn't have had any awareness when he tried to kill her. But
mm. So, do, 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 do. I would say I would say you can both make a faith roll. You know this is a fate dice. This is not. I said a faith. Faith.
Oh, a faith roll.
Faith. You're a goddamn demon. You have faith, not faith. What are you doing? Stop.
Ooh.
Okay. Uh, both feel well for sure guys it's a little bit blurry probably because he is still attuning himself to this new body, but
probably.
to redo, yes, you feel something. You indeed feel that the person in front of you is, yeah, it's not human anymore. It's not human anymore, and you feel a kinship. You know it's one of the denizen. of the abyss that took a body just like you did.
She's gonna put up both her hands to show that they are empty, because that seems familiar. Say, please don't shoot me.
He kind of clicks the hammer forward, like cautiously, and then lowers the weapon.
Are you new in there?
He just stares at her.
She doesn't really know how to explain what she's asking. So she kind of stares at him too.
Demons are awkward.
Awkward demons are awkward. Are you gonna
Um,
try and kill me again?
I see no point.
Good. I won't try and kill you again then either.
He's going to make his way kind of closer, but still at a distance, and almost awkwardly kind of wedge his way, like, or try to, between her and the door.
That's even more awkward because she's like standing at the door. So if he reaches for the door, she'll
Well, yeah, like if it's like she's standing right in front of it, he's like almost like looking around her, like his eyes are just kind of moving constantly towards the exit. And when it becomes clear that she's just in the way, he sort of doesn't really know how to react to it, so he just stands there and stares at her.
don't
And
leave.
my character does have an idea that she is from the abyss, like a very vague, or
mhm.
not at all,
Uh, yeah,
with only
no,
one.
you also know. You also know. You have a little bit of doubt, as you felt something. You felt a little bit of spark coming from her, so you can clearly state out that yeah, she's she's one of you.
Who are you?
I'm Eridu.
He's going to it now. I don't know if this is going to, like,
Hmm.
does legacy apply to like time in the pit or before the pit?
Mm, legacy, legacy as generality is uh, it's it's everything that you represent, but mostly those are your memories from your time when you were still angels of God. But
Right.
you still have those. The fact that you have legacy also means that, in a way, your your power, and what constitutes memories is still intact within your human host. So yeah, it's a little bit of both, even if obviously it's generally more concerning the time before the fall.
So he will recognize that name and kind of have this confused look, as though like he himself is trying to figure out how this could happen, and he just says, you know, what a coincidence.
I somehow feel that now Eridu probably. How does Eridu feels about this statement of
She doesn't
our
believe in
story?
coincidence.
Hmm.
She just shakes her head at him like, mm-mm, probably not that.
So, what is this? Where are we?
I don't know. Is he still looking for the door?
Yeah, I mean, kind of.
She kind of steps a little bit out of the way, just a little bit, and she's like, but don't leave if I can't find you again.
He just he, he's there's going to be a lot of awkward staring. I want that to be known. He's just going to stare at her awkwardly and
So
like
much awkward
expect
staring.
her and expect her to like explain what she means.
Do you want some coffee?
He remembers that probably from his mortal that
Mhm.
his mortal doesn't particularly like coffee, but he's willing to try it. There's a moment of awkward staring again, and he just sort of nods slowly.
And she goes and starts making coffee with her bloody hands.
He he stands exactly where she left him, like next to the door, and is just watching her. He doesn't go to make himself comfortable.
She puts on a pot of coffee and just kind of automatically does the things you normally do to make coffee. It's familiar to her hands, and she doesn't really know what to do with this. She's been kind of fucking around in this body, not really knowing what to do besides like be what the body was before, and now everything's different again.
Um, for his part, he is just like not at all comfortable yet, so yet more awkward standing and staring and like he's kind of like at this point probably like patting himself down and like finding like a phone and just kind of like looking at it awkwardly for a second. Like he knows what it is, but you still have to like hold it and touch it to know like to look at it.
Please don't call anybody.
He stares at her blankly.
You're covered in blood. Sorry. Not really sorry. Where's my computer?
The oh that I'm I apologize.
She gives him a sad look. That doesn't sound good.
As best as I can tell, it's broken.
Oh no. Okay.
More awkward staring.
She hands him a cup of coffee.
He takes it and sniffs it and stares at her.
You should probably wash up. And I should probably wash up. And then maybe we can figure out why somebody just tried to kill me with a gun.
He sips the coffee.
and eventually maybe figure out why you're here, why we're here.
Hmm.
How'd you like that
Lots of
coffee?
lots of grunting and staring, and sipping and grunting and staring whenever she says something.
Hmm. How exactly does Eridu feel about this individual? Because she has presented herself, but doesn't. You don't really know who he is.
Yeah, he hasn't introduced himself back.
She's not sure. She's suffering a great deal of not sureness, but that actually happens to be one of the things that she enjoys, so she's
Hmm.
okay with that.
Hmm. He reacted, however, to your name.
It's true. Once they've done some staring and grunting for a while. Um, she also, by the way, does not give him anything to wash up with. He'll have to show some initiative on that. And if he sits there sipping at the coffee, eventually she'll say, "Who are you?"
At this point, when the coffee is finished, he will go to the sink and wash his hands and just sort of call back that he is, you know, I assume that, yeah, he's going to just look back at her and say, Shargaz.
Oh,
And with that realization that her savior was her murderer in the human world, I guess this is a moment to call it the scene for this awkward reunion between two demons. Thank you, players, for playing, watchers for watching, and we will see you soon in the pit. That is New York, and more specifically, the demon venue.
Very awkwardly.